My name is Andrew Last. It usually happens that I get put either last or in this case at the front, so I'm very happy to be here tonight. I've met Barack Obama 3 times. When I'm feeling like I want to be more interesting, that's what I say. I say that I've met Barack Obama 3 times. In fact, I've seen Barack Obama 3 times. But even that's not telling the truth. Let me explain. I work in a souvenir store. Australia the Gift, it's called. We sell a wide range of colourful, politically incorrect, culturally insensitive products. We have tea towels with road signs printed on them. Kangaroos next 10 kilometres, koalas next 5 kilometres, Aborigines next 700 kilometres. We sell placenta cream. It's funny, if not racist, the kind of generalisations that I could make about the store. Indians buy clocks, the Japanese buy keyrings, the Chinese buy fish oil, Papua New Guineans buy t-shirts, Americans buy Aboriginal art, white Australians buy Australian flags, and Indigenous Australians shop elsewhere. And Germans buy postcards. We don't sell stamps. Are you also having stamps? No, we are not also having stamps. I like working there because I get to meet people from all over the world every day. I like to try and guess where people are from. And it helps if you know where every country in the world is and what the capital cities are. It's not as difficult as you think. Memory is a very visual thing. To remember is to see again. So the more visual you can make your memories, the easier it is to remember them. So when you're learning and memorising the countries of the world, what you can do is visualise a map of the world. So you can all visualise with me as we go on a voyage around the world. We can start in Australia and then go up through Papua New Guinea, then across through Indonesia. You're with me so far? There's East Timor, don't forget it. St. Steve, don't forget it. Then you can go through Singapore, then through Malaysia and the Philippines, up through Southeast Asia into Vietnam and Thailand and Cambodia and Laos and Myanmar, through China, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, down through Russia, Mongolia, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, all the stands, there's 7 of them, don't forget any of them, through the Middle East, through Europe and Africa, through the Americas, hopping over the islands of the Pacific, and you're back in Australia. And New Zealand is somewhere there. And once you've got all of the countries remembered, all you need to do is simply attach the capital city, so that when you remember one thing, you remember another. And it helps, actually, if you visualise tying on with a piece of string the capital city. So we've got Canberra in Australia, then we've got Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea, and then we've got Jakarta in Indonesia, and then there's Singapore in Singapore. That's an easy one. There are a few easy ones out there. And sooner or later, you're ready to start guessing where people are from. And I tried this once with an African man. He came into the store, big man, and I heard him speaking French to a French couple. And he said, "Je suis de la Guinée." I am from Guinea. Now, as we know from our adventures, Guinea is a small French-speaking country in the western part of Africa, and the capital city, as we know, because we tied a piece of string to it, is Conakry. So, when the man came to the counter, the first words that I said to him were, as a guess, "So, you're from Conakry?" And he looked at me and said, "How do you know so much?" I like working in a souvenir store because I get to meet people from here, there, and everywhere. I kind of feel like a flight attendant, one that doesn't fly. And as well as meeting people from Conakry, I sometimes meet people from places that everyone knows. Places like America, places like the White House. So last year, Brisbane hosted the G20. 20 world leaders, hundreds and hundreds of delegates, thousands and thousands of policemen from Queensland, New South Wales, New Zealand. And with all the roadblocks, the city, the CBD, Queen Street Mall, where Australia the Gift is, became an island. And if you got caught on the wrong side of the motorcades, You had two options. You could either stand there and wait for 4 hours for Vladimir Putin to drive past, or you could go to a bar, get drunk, and then go to Australia to gift and buy souvenirs from me, which is what most people did. G20 was the busiest week of the year, 2.5 times over. I served the Indonesian First Lady. I sold 9 pairs of underwear to the First Lady of Mexico. I don't know why she needed 9 pairs of underwear, burritos, I suppose. But my favourite people to meet were the Secret Service agents, the United States Secret Service agents. Besides the buzz cuts and the biceps, I knew that they were Secret Service agents because I asked them and they told me. Are you a Secret Service agent? Yes, sir. A bit talky, a bit chatty, if you know what I mean. There was one particularly talkative Secret Service agent. And he told me his life story. He told me that he was from Milwaukee, that he liked fly fishing. He liked fly fishing, and he was here in Brisbane to protect the most powerful man in the world, starting at 4 a.m. the next morning. He said that it was his job to sit in the back of the car and, take the bullet. He even told me that sometimes they used a double. They would use a fake president while the real president took the long way home. I asked him if he still had to take the bullet when it was the fake Obama. Yes, sir. So on the last night of G20, I was looking to cross the road to go home, but Adelaide Street had been blocked off. And one motorcade went past, and then another. It was funny, you can tell how important a world leader is by the size of their motorcade. I think Tony Abbott went past at some stage, like just one car. And you know what they say about prime ministers with small motorcades? And I was waiting there for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. And more people arrived, and they got a bit restless. They started banging on the fence, chanting. First as a joke, but then a little bit more seriously. Let us out, let us out, let us out. And I was feeling a little bit restless too. I was feeling restless, but more than restless, I was feeling tired and exhausted and fatigued and depressed. I'd been working in a souvenir store for 8 years. I finished 2.5 university degrees and still had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I'd become one of those people that I hated, one of those nothing people that wakes up every morning and wishes they were still asleep. And there was nothing memorable about my life, just a succession of similar days. And I was trapped, metaphorically and literally, in a city that I couldn't escape. But at least I wasn't the only one. There were other people chanting, let us out, let us out. And I remembered that I'd heard those words before. And memories lead to memories. There was a similar conference 5 years earlier, almost to the exact day, in Copenhagen. The capital city of Denmark, by the way. The United Nations organised a climate change conference. They changed the name of the city to Copenhagen. And there was, a lot of expectation leading up to this conference. People wanted things to happen. People wanted things to change. And hundreds of thousands of people came to Denmark to show support, to support action on climate change. And there was this huge green machine in the middle of the street that was hooked up to people. It was powered by, fat people running on treadmills. It was like Howl's Moving Castle hooked up to the Biggest Losers. And I know this because I saw it, because I was there. I had completely forgotten that I spent my undergraduate years in Scandinavia. I'd completely forgotten that on the last day of the 2009 United Nations Climate Change Conference, I'd been a part of the biggest climate change rally ever. And it felt like things were changing, and I felt like I was changing as well. But as the day went on, it seemed that things would not change. The world leaders, when asked whether or not they would support action on climate change, they said, no, we will not. And it just sunk into the crowd. You could feel it. And then it turned into chaos, and people completely lost their shit. They went berserk. they started lighting fires, breaking windows, setting off bombs. 1,000 people were arrested in Denmark that day. It's the biggest single mass arrest in the history of Denmark. And the police just barricaded them in the main street. And there's a photo in the dark of these protesters, and they're all wearing black clothes and they're all chanting, "Let us out, let us out." And in the background you can see the building where the conference took place, and all the world leaders are probably in there, eating fruit. And Barack Obama is probably in there, wiping his mouth with a serviette. And I know about that photo because I took it. And I remembered that photo and other photos like it. The week before Copenhagen, I'd been in Oslo as well. Oslo in Norway, I'd gone there for a cruise, and I was there with my friends, and I remember the streets were very bleak. It wasn't snowing, but the weather was cold and pointy. And I was walking through the Peace Garden, and I saw this limousine pull up in the distance, and a seemingly very important man emerged. Now, I'm not saying that all black presidents look the same. I'm just saying that I know a black president when I see one, and this was a black president. So I started running towards him thinking, what is Barack Obama doing in Norway? And of course, what Barack Obama was doing in Norway was accepting the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know the exact wording, but I think in layman's terms, he got it for being like a total bro. And as I was running towards him, the closer I got, the more I realized it wasn't Barack Obama. It was fake Obama. But like real Obama, fake Obama was a total bro, and he was shaking our hands and giving us high fives and taking photos with us. And there's a photo, and I've got my arm around fake Obama, and all my friends are lined up on either side, and we're all doing this, and everyone's looking over at this camera, and I'm looking at this camera because I know that it's mine. And I'd completely forgotten that photo. And I'd completely forgotten the photo in Copenhagen, and all over Scandinavia, and all over Europe, and all over the world. And I'd forgotten them because they don't exist anymore. They are gone. To make my computer run faster, I transferred them to an external hard drive, and then I'd given that to a friend so that she could put her Facebook photos on them. And when I go back, it had been reformatted and everything was gone. But a photograph is just like a souvenir, a memento, a memory. And memories lead to memories. So during G20, while I was waiting to cross the road, I was thinking about how I crossed roads in Denmark and Norway. I was thinking about how you don't need to buy souvenirs from Australia, the gift, or Azerbaijan, the gift, or United Emirates, the gift, to remember. You just need to remember to remember. And I made a promise to myself that I would make each day memorable, that each day I would travel somewhere new. Somewhere like the old museum, for instance. And as I was remembering these things and promising myself these things, the American motorcade drove past, and I could see the president's car, and I could see this Secret Service agent crouched in the back, ready to take the bullet, and I could see a man, a silhouette, inside waving, and it may or may not have been the first time that I saw the most powerful man in the world. Thank you.